So 10 years ago today, Chris Wilder was appointed as Sheffield United manager for the first time. And my God, it's been some journey since, of course, 3 spells at the club. And especially that first spell from 2016 to 2021. So I thought in honour of this 10-year anniversary, I picked out my 5 favourite moments from that era. These aren't necessarily the best matches because, of course, there were some brilliant matches under Wilder. These are some of my personal memories and the highs of that period. I'm basing this on the games that I've attended, so of course away games. I didn't really get to many in that period. But I've got to give a special mention to them games at Wednesday and Leeds, of course 4-2 in the Basham game. Because of course, despite not attending them, they're still massive memories to me and of course vital in our journey. I can't for the life of me put these in order, so I'm going chronologically. So the first one I'm going to speak about is the earliest, then the latest last. So let's just get straight into it. The first memory I want to speak about is from the 2016-2017 season. There's a few games in this season I could have gone for, but I've gone to the final day clash with Chesterfield. By this time, we'd already sealed promotion and the title, of course, sitting on 97 points. So a win versus Chesterfield on the final day at Bramall Lane would get 100. We managed to win that game 3-2. It was a decent thriller, to be fair. Of course, Daniel Lafferty with a late goal. And I've picked this game more for the celebrations afterwards, of course, getting out of League One after 6 years. And in Wilder's first season, well, of course, that system that he implemented. And to think all these tactics started with a few beers after Millwall away is a brilliant memory because your team doesn't win a title every season, of course. Then we finished mid-table in the 2017-18 season. Of course, the 2018-19, we got promoted. And there's a couple of games from that season I want to pick out. Of course, the first one being the home one versus Villa. It was on the 1st of September, so quite early on in the season. But my God, what a display we put on. 4-1 winners were so dominant. And in terms of a team performance, that one definitely stands out. And I'll tell you, some Ollie Norwood had just signed. It was like his second or third game. He dominated that midfield. He got an assist and a goal in that game, that dodgy free kick. But he just seemed to be everywhere, and that was the start of his brilliance at Sheffield United. But after a slow start to that season, it made me believe we could go and get promotion. Which leads me nicely into the next game. Of course, Ipswich at home, 2-0 win. It was a bog-standard game, an early goal and a late goal. But of course, what it meant for Sheffield United, it put us on the verge of promotion. Of course, we needed one more point. But we knew it was done because of the goal difference in the last game. There wasn't going to overturn it. And the atmosphere that day was one of the best I've ever seen at Bramall Lane. For me personally, I'd never seen it in the Premier League. Of course, the last time we were in the Premier League, I was 3. Every kid dreams of seeing their team play in the Premier League, so of course that was big for me. And it's safe to say it's a day I'll never forget. I've picked out 2 games from that brilliant 2019-20 Prem season. The first one I've picked out is the Arsenal one at home, of course, won 1-0. I think it was one of the first games under the lights since returning to the Premier League. Of course, the atmosphere was special. Of course, playing a big team like Arsenal at home, you want the players to show up, and they did. The only goal was from a corner. Of course, Lys Mousset tapped it in. But the atmosphere that night was so good. I remember a save from Dean Henderson, from Xhaka, I think a long shot. And it was probably the first time that season I looked at us in the league and thought we could compete. And the last game I want to speak about is the West Ham one in the January. We were sitting around the top 6, top 7 at that time. We were doing well. I believe it was Friday night football. It was just set up for a perfect game. McBurney put us 1-0 up in the 55th, 60th minute, I believe. It was looking like we'd get another win until West Ham scored in the 90th minute. But of course, Declan Rice handballed it. Of course, the goal was disallowed. And genuinely, that was celebrated like we'd scored a second. The atmosphere that night was mental. Of course, it topped it off perfectly at the end. And I have many vivid memories of that season. If you're a Blades fan, let me know your favourite memory under Chris Wilder.